of the Music Dreams USA Radio Worldwide Artist Spotlight. And tonight we got another special star. Her name is Shauna. Hey, Miss Shauna, how you doing?
Hi, Russell. I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
We're doing great. And our show is brought to you by Football Fanatics and Music Dreams USA Radio. Make sure you join me and my partner in crime, Alexa, for the Russell K and Alexa Morning Show. And you can check us out weekdays, Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And so now let's go live now and meet our special guest, Shauna. So, Shauna, what's going on with you? And where are you actually out? Are you actually at home right now?
I am. I'm at home in my living room in front of my computer. And I'm located in Brampton, Ontario, in Canada, actually. And so I just was talking to my daughter. She just got home from school and, I'm doing my whole thing here. And yeah, I'm in my living room. As you can see,
that sounds like a lot of
fun. Yeah, that's where I am.
All right. So for all of our listeners that are watching now who will be watching, can you kind of like walk us through your musical journey, like how it began? What are you doing now? And what are some of the plans in the future for you as you continue in your journey with music?
Yeah. My musical journey started at a pretty young age. At about 4 or 5 years old, I was singing in my living room in front of my grandparents. And I would have a banana because they didn't really have the microphones back in that day. And so I would be performing, say, Debbie Gibson, or there were some other artists I would perform as well. And it was my thing, and I would put on a show for them. And that's sort of where it all began. I was singing all through my years, anything from musical theater to bands to classical music. I was taking classical training, and I did that all my way through school and high school, played in bands. And then eventually I went to AMDA in New York. I auditioned for AMDA. It's American Musical Dramatic Academy. And I got a scholarship on my audition. And so I went to New York for 2 years and studied musical theater, so singing, dancing, acting. And then immediately after that is when I got my first record deal. I was about 18 years old. And it was my first record deal, and it was in Montreal. I was living there. A friend of mine had his own recording studio and had been taking recording there. So he said, "Hey, come down. I've heard some of your songs. I really want to record you. I'd love to work with you." So I ended up going there and recording with him. And of course, that's where it all started. I got my first record deal. One of the people he was working with came in, heard my songs, and wanted to sign me there on the spot. And I signed my first record deal at that point. Now, fast forward to now, I'm actually on a different label now called Mikan Records with Sony ATV. And through a lot of struggles from getting out of my first deal, learning a lot about the business, and sort of turning my back on it for a little bit because I was getting frustrated with some of the bad things that were happening to me, I ended up coming back. And here I am with a new single that just came out, and it's called Fresh Start, by me, of course, Shauna, featuring Chaclair. And so that's sort of a little recap of how all of this came together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your new album. Your new song. How did it come about? Was it just from experiences, or it's just something that was in the works for a while? Tell us about your new song.
Yeah. Well, like I sort of discussed before, Fresh Start is about kind of talking about how you can change paths in your life at any time. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. You can always sort of have a fresh start, and every day is the chance at a fresh start. And so I turned my back on the music industry for quite a bit. I had some bad experiences, and, I came to a point where I said, I can change my mind and I can come right back and start this all over again and do a fresh start. And that's sort of where this song came from. Also, I came out of a pretty toxic relationship that made me evaluate a lot of things that I was doing in my life. And just made me decide that I need to really take this chance and really put everything into what I'm doing. And so that's sort of where this came from. And of course, Choclair is on the song. He's a really good friend of mine. Juno Award winner. He's won 4 Junos. A great guy. And so we had worked together before, and I thought he would be perfect for the song. And also, he was really popular in the early 90s. He had a hit, Let's Ride, in Canada, of course. And he sort of kind of went off the Richter for a bit. He was still around, but he just wasn't sort of out as well as he was before. And then I thought, well, it's kind of like bringing his attention to the table too. It's almost like a fresh start in a way for him. So I thought he would be perfect for this. He loved it when I showed it to him, and that's just how it sort of organically came together.
Wow. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, no problem.
So, now that we're talking about music and everything, are there any any memories that have come your way in the music industry, that's stuff that you'll never forget? If so, what are they and why are they so special for you?
Yeah. Well, when I had my first record deal in Montreal, I actually ended up recording most of that album at Morin Heights in Montreal. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that studio, but it's a world-renowned studio. A lot of the big artists the Rolling Stones used to record there. A lot of the big acts used to record there. And so I was in there recording at the same time as the Tea Party. They were in there doing their album, and I'm a big fan of theirs. And so that was really cool. And I met all the people there who had worked with the Rolling Stones for years. And sort of they shared, personal stories about some things that had happened with the band. And I don't know, being there in that environment was a really memorable thing for me. And especially now, because Morin Heights, they're not using it anymore. And so that was like a really awesome experience for me that I'll always hold close and dear to my heart. So I think that's probably one of my favorites. There's a lot of them, but that's one of them for sure. Yeah.
Well, we got a half-hour show, so we can do some more if you want.
When you asked me the first question, I'm like, oh, where do I begin? And I better stop myself somewhere, because I could just talk forever. So there you go.
I love it.
Yeah.
So tell our listeners about your style. So as a professional singer, is there like an artist that you look up to? Who would that artist be? And can you tell us a little bit more about your style?
Yeah. I would say my style is pop predominantly, but I mix in a lot of different things. I have a bit of hip hop, a bit of dance, a bit of disco, just sort of a mix of things, but it all sort of ends up in this pop sort of place. And I've always been into a lot of different styles, and I think that's why I bring a lot of those into it. And I just love music in general and writing music. And so there's so many styles that come to my mind when I'm writing. But I would say, yeah, it's definitely pop. And there's a lot of people that I look up to over the years. I mean, Madonna was one of the first ones because, she was just such a strong female, and had broken a lot of doors down and changed the way women were looked at in the music industry. And I thought she was very powerful, and really paid attention to politics and world issues and things like that. And so that was a big one for me. I also liked a lot of underground artists. Are you familiar with the artist Tori Amos? Are you familiar with her?
I am.
You
Absolutely.
Are. So I've always been a really big fan of hers. And she was a bit more underground. I think she had 1 or 2 hits that were on the radio, but besides that, it was more of an underground thing. And I've always loved her, and I just loved what she was doing. She was just so honest, and she would be pounding the piano and just like everything. I just loved that about her. And so she was definitely a big influence too. If I was like doing cover songs or something like that, there would definitely be a Tori in there somewhere. I liked Bjork a lot growing up. I've never seen her in concert. I'd like to see her. She's more of an underground artist. Are you familiar with Bjork? Do you know her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I like her too. And it's sort of all over the place. But I would say those 3 are probably the ones that really influenced me the most. I'd say, yeah.
So since we're talking about artists, I mean, you must be looking at my cheat sheet. So here's my next question for you. What is your thoughts about the music today compared to back in the day? So kind of like, take a step back in time and And fast forward, here we are with today's music. I mean,
Mhm.
are you a fan of it? You're not a fan of it? What are your thoughts about today's music compared to back in time?
Um, I miss the era. I miss the era of CDs and cassettes because that was sort of my time. And so I miss that a lot because I miss being able to open up the CD or the cassette and seeing the insert and smelling it and just having it in front of me and the whole tangible thing about it. I miss that part, and I think a lot of the electronic stuff that's happened now with the internet and everything, it's not the same as it used to be. In terms of music, I think it's good in one way that music is so accessible and there's so many different artists out there that perhaps are getting seen now and weren't able to have that platform before. I think that's a good thing. But I also think there's a lot of people out there that aren't really saying anything that has any substance to it. There's a lot of artists. I mean, there's some that are doing that, which I really love and value. But at the same time, I miss those artists that had something really fundamental to say or took the art to a deeper level and really made it something different. Like say like the David Bowies and when they had like alter egos and they had all these different things happening with their albums. And I don't know, I just think right now the music industry is lacking that a bit. And if anything, I'm trying to do that on my own with what I'm doing. I mean, everything that I'm bringing to the table musically has something really deeply substantial underneath it. My album that I'm working on right now is called Love Frequency 528. It hasn't come out yet. I just finished the title track on the album, and it's basically, have you heard of Love Frequency 528? Have you heard about that before? The topic?
Yes,
You have? Oh,
I have. Us here at the radio station, also the Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight. We get ins on a lot of this stuff, especially in the music industry. So we get the opportunity to check out a lot of stuff before it even hits. So that's one thing I love about what we do, and you learn a lot. I mean, especially the music industry, you're always going to learn. You're always going to grow. You're never gonna know everything, right? So yeah, I'm glad you're sharing that. I love what you're saying too. But carry on, please.
yeah. Yeah. So basically, Love Frequency 528 is a frequency of music, and it's been known to heal people, have healing powers to make people heal from physical ailments, brain ailments. It emotes happiness and love and joy and all of those different emotions. And so I thought it would be great to bring that to the table because this whole album that I'm working with is about energy and different aspects of energy and sort of kind of like vibrating at your highest energy and sort of using my music to do that, to heal people, to get over things. We just went through COVID. There's a lot of healing that a lot of people need to go through. And so my whole album is surrounded with that topic. And so a lot of big artists have used it in the past too. Like the Rolling Stones have used it in their music. They use that frequency. It's a joyful, beautiful frequency that people love to hear and feel. And so that's kind of the underlying thing that ties this whole album together. And I always have meaning behind everything I'm doing, down to, my logo, for instance. My logo has meaning behind it. I mean, everything that I do has a story and it has a specific meaning. So
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
yeah,
really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
no
And
problem.
yeah, feel free to send us some stuff so we can give away on the air. Okay. We'll take some of your,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I have merchandise. I have, shirts. I have clutch bags that I just made with my brand that were actually invented by the same type of fabric and design as Prada from their company. It's a Staffiano design. And so that's some things that I have on my website, which is, of course, shaunamusic.com. And you can go on there on my shop, and there's a bunch of things that I've been creating around the music that, I mean, I'll send you some. And also music too. Like I can send you both. I would love to share what I'm doing with you for sure.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, and we can
Yeah.
actually use that on our on our morning show and give away some really cool prizes. So yeah, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing that you could change about the music industry, and we've had such a great conversation thus far, and thank you for that.
Mhm.
Um, if there's one thing you could change in the music industry, what would it be and why?
Hmm. Well, I think one thing I would change is the way that the artists are uh, just being paid nowadays. I think they deserve a lot more than what they're getting. I mean, I know it's a different type of thing now. It's all digital and everything like that. But I think one thing I would change is I would make the percentages of the artists, say on iTunes or Spotify or any of those big platforms, I would make them receive a lot more than they're receiving at this point, because it really did change a lot of the artists' lives when everything changed and went to the internet and all the platforms that are on there. And I think there needs to be something that changes in that way. And if I could change it, I would, because I know there's a lot of artists out there working very hard and not necessarily seeing the benefit financially on the other end. And so that's what I would change. I would make it way a bit more generous than it is now. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so fast forward now, are you getting ready to go on any tours or any upcoming events coming your way?
I do have some events, but I can't really say much about it yet. I have something really exciting happening next year in Dubai, but I can't really get too into it at this point. But I will be touring around Canada. That's the next step that I'll be doing very soon. I can't really get into details about it yet because we don't have all of the set dates. But I can tell you something very exciting is that my Fresh Start, of course, single is out right now featuring Chaclair, which is the song I sent you. But I have a new single coming out at the end of September, September the 29th, and it's called Reflection. And I'm really excited about that. And we're going to be doing a lot of different things around that. I'm going to be doing a concert on my show. I have actually a talk show. It's called Talk with Shauna on the Fired Up Network. And we are on channel 38. And so on Viva Live TV. And so I'll be doing a live concert on there when the song comes out, and there'll be a lot of different things happening around that time. So that's something I can say for sure right now. Yeah.
That's awesome, and congratulations. And
Yes. That was
yeah, I
my
mean, I've had the opportunity to check out your music. It's amazing. So yeah,
oh, thank you. Thank you
I'm
so
a
much.
big fan.
Thank you. I'm making so much noise over here. Oh my goodness. You must be
I know. It's
really
kind of funny how we met though, right? We met on social media, did we not? It's like,
we
you
did.
reached
We
out to
did.
us. And that's one of the things I love the most about Music Dreams USA Radio Artist Spotlight is that's what our show is all about. It's about reaching, the upcoming aspiring artists and getting them some exposure and getting them live on all of our socials, and just telling us a little bit about you, what you're doing, and so on and so forth. So it's so nice to meet you, and yeah, you wow, that's awesome.
Likewise, my friend. It's great to meet you too. And you gotta love it. Like, if you're gonna get along with somebody right away, even on social media, if the conversation is flowing and it just ends up happening organically like that, you know that it's meant to be. So I'm really glad to be here on the show. So thanks for having me too, by the way.
You're more than welcome. Yeah. And that's what we love about our show. We meet some pretty cool, interesting artists, and each story is always different, obviously. But it's really, really cool. You can find out a little bit more about you and what you're doing, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, how can our listeners get in contact with you? How can they purchase your music or even maybe book you for a gig?
Absolutely. Yes. Well, I would say the easiest way to get a hold of me is on my website, which is www.shaunamusic.com. And on there, my booking is on there, all of my singles, my videos. So I have links to everything on YouTube. I have videos on YouTube. You can also get my stuff on Spotify. My Fresh Start single featuring Chaclair is out on Spotify. And of course, Reflection is going to be out on the 29th. And I have a few other singles on there too. You can find me on iTunes. You could connect with me on my Instagram, which is Shauna Brown Music 111. I'm pretty much on all of the social media sites as Shauna Brown, which is my full name. but I go as Shauna. That's my stage name. And yeah, that's probably the best way. Also, you could follow me on Facebook. Um, on my music page, you can follow me, and that way I can message with you, because my original Facebook is of course full. You can only have 5,000 people. So, but on my music page, you could like my music page, and I can message with you on there. And it's Shauna Songs. So it's facebook.com/Shauna Songs. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the best way to get a hold of me. And if you need me to come out and do a show, I would be very happy to do that. And I just love to connect with my fans and just be there and talk to them when they want to talk to me.
Wow, that's awesome. And that's going to be
Mhm.
like my next question. So when you're on stage, what is the message that through your music, what is the message you're trying to send out to your fans?
Definitely. Well, my message is to really get to a point in your life spiritually where you're connected to like sort of a higher energy and happiness. And feeling like you can be whatever you want to be at whatever age, and there's no expiry date for that. Like, I want people to feel like, they can do whatever they want to do in their lives, and they don't have to feel like they have to stay inside of a box, or, feel like they have to listen to what people think about them, of what they're capable of doing. Uh, I want people to know that it doesn't matter what age or stage you're at. If you want to do something, you can do it. And you're the only person that knows if you can do something or not. Nobody knows that but you, what you're capable of. And to always tap into that, really express that inner part of yourself, and never stop. That's kind of my thing. It's like, never stop. I mean, you can fall, keep getting back up. Just keep getting back up, and there's going to be one day where you remain standing. So
That's
that's
awesome.
yeah, that's pretty much what I represent. And I'm very into energy. Like, there's songs on my album. Like, there's one called Secret. I don't know if you've read the book The Secret, but it's a very popular book, and that song was inspired by that book. And it's basically about sharing energy with people, not taking it from other people, tapping into our natural human sort of existence. Like, sometimes you'll see someone suffering and you feel like you don't want to do anything for that person. You're scared because there's so many bad people out there. But then also, too, there's a sense of humanity that we have to live by and help our fellow person, and I want people to not forget that. It's like, we still need to care for each other in this day and age. We need to care for each other more now, I think, than ever.
Oh,
Uh,
heck yeah. Hmm.
yeah, and that's something else that I represent. It's like, if you see someone suffering and you can do something to help, why not do it? We're supposed to be there for each other. Like, this is important. And so I think we need to be reminded about that, and reminded about helping each other and sharing our energy, and just love and happiness and healing, and all of that stuff is really what I'm bringing to the table. I think the music industry needs some happiness and love and healing too, you know?
Yeah, I love hearing you say that because, I mean, we're living in a world now where it's absolutely crazy. I mean, things that you thought you'd never see are actually happening now.
Hmm.
And it's a different world. And I mean, if the world ever needed music, the world needs music now. And
Yeah.
they need artists to come up with some songs to help people get through the rough times, and no matter what they're going through. And I mean, me personally, I think in some way there's a gap in that. I just think, one thing I've noticed, like a lot of the younger generation
Mm,
is listening to the old school music. And even if you listen to like the new music coming out, right? What are
mm,
you hearing? You're hearing bits and pieces of old school songs. And the music, I mean, for me, like the music of today, a lot of people are not really listening to it. And I
mm.
think it's because of, I mean, it's not there. The connection's not there. What do you think about that statement? Do you agree or disagree? And tell me why.
I agree with you for the most part. The majority of the music out there right now, people just aren't connecting. It's like background noise. It's noise. It's not, there's nothing there behind it. It's a lot of it. But there's a lot of artists that are saying something and they are, emulating good things. But I think the percentage is pretty high of the ones that aren't. And I think too, they just are doing what they think they need to do to stay relevant, and or it's not cool to talk about our feelings or issues that are important, or spirituality or kindness or things like that. And I think I want to be one of those people that says, you know, it's actually cool to talk about those things. That is where the coolness is. Like, that's the real stuff. Like, and I want to use my platform for people to feel like that can be something to talk about, and that can be something that is popular, and there can be substance, and like just all those things. And so that's what I feel I'm going to be doing with what I'm doing. And I know there's some other people out there doing that too, and I just think we need more of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, well said. And, I agree with you 100%. And so with that being said, here's my next question for you.
Mm.
So let's talk about the up and coming artists, the people who have the love and passion like you have, and maybe they're not at quite the level that you're at right now. What advice would you give them to try to get to where you are right now? And how do they get there?
Mm. Um, well, first of all, I would say don't let anybody tell you you can't do this. I mean, nobody knows what you can do but you. So don't fall into that, and don't fall into other people's dogma. Maybe somebody tried and it didn't work out for them, but that does not mean that that'll be the case for you. And so just try to not listen to any of that, because that's somebody else's story. That's not your story. Make sure to stick with your own story. Um, for women, I would say, or anyone really, men or women both, I would say, don't let anybody tell you you're too old, or that you're the wrong age, or that you don't look the right way, or any of those things. Because when it really comes down to it, music will speak to someone or it won't. And it doesn't matter their age, what they look like, any of those things. It can help when you're trying to express something. But I would say when it comes to really touching someone's heart, really, all those things don't matter. And so don't buy into that. You can be beautiful and exceptional and make noise and be heard and all those things at any age. So don't listen to that. I would also say, try to think outside the box. Don't always think that there's a specific formula that you have to follow and that is the only way. I'm definitely a good example of that. I mean, if you want to get something done, there are other ways around it. And so don't think that there's no hope for you, or that you can't make it happen, because if you put your mind to it, you can. There's always ways. What else would I say? There's so many things that I'd like to say, but those are the main ones right there. I would say is also, when you fall down, don't get discouraged. You're going to fall down a million times. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes, make tons of mistakes, make them fast and make them often. But keep getting back up. And if it's inside you that you think this is what you want, you keep getting back up. And like I said before, there's going to be a day where you're going to remain standing, and it is all going to be worth it. It really is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very well said. And
Thanks.
You are on fire today.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And so as we wind down our show, are there any final thoughts that you would love to share with our listeners right now?
Any final thoughts? Well, I would just say, if you're listening to music in general or in your life, always remember that don't be told what you're supposed to think or what you're supposed to feel. Don't do that. I mean, Listen to yourself. If you like something authentically, don't be afraid to like it, even if it's not the common, most popular thing out there. Follow what's inside, because that's going to give you the answer always in every aspect of your life. Don't be told what to think. Don't buy into it all. I mean, you can decide for yourself what you like and what you don't like, and stick to that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I would just say stand your ground, and if you feel something, you stick to it. You stay with that. That's what I definitely would say.
Awesome. And one more time, could you please share your contact information with our listeners as it relates to purchasing your music and all that good stuff?
Absolutely. You can go to my website, which is shaunamusic.com. I have all my songs, my videos, my merchandise, lots of links to lots of fun things on there. That's the easiest way. You could find me on Instagram at Shauna Brown Music 111. And I always respond to messages. I love to hear people's feedback. I love to hear how perhaps something touched your life or helped you through something. That is what I live for. You could also contact me on my Facebook page, which is Shauna Songs. And I think you have to like it for me to message you. So you could like me on there. And I'm on all the other platforms as Shauna Brown. And I would just say, reach out to me whenever you feel, because I will definitely answer you.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And before we close our show, other than doing music, do you have any hobbies? If so, what are they?
Yeah, I did a bit of modeling actually, and I'm also an actor. And so I think those definitely correspond with my music, those two things, because I love fashion, I love acting. With the music videos, you're putting on a show, and you're telling a story in your songs as well. And so I've actually done quite a few very good feature films and different things along the way as well, alongside with my music career. I would say those are probably my two favorites. I love shopping. I love fashion. I love anything creative, anything to do with graphics or design, things like that. I designed my merchandise myself. I have like shoes on there that I created, handbags, different things. I love design, anything like that. That's where I'm at.
Awesome. Well, you know what today is, right?
No.
Take a guess.
I don't know.
It's a sporting event.
Uh,
Football. The NFL season kicks off tonight.
oh, the NFL season. Oh my goodness. Yes, that's true. Oh, yes. That's great.
Are you a football fan?
I am.
Who do you like?
I used to be. I like the Green Bay Packers, actually.
My son's a huge Green Bay Packer. Even after Aaron Rodgers bolts the cheeseheads and goes to New York City and plays for the Jets now. So what makes you like the Packers?
I don't know. Maybe it might have had something to do with the cheesehead part. No, but I really like them. I've always followed them, and I don't know. They're good. Like, they've done really well. And of course, I love to watch the halftime show. I mean, that's my dream. Like, my dream from being a young girl would be to either sing the national anthem or do the halftime show. Like, that's like always been my dream. And I do the national anthem, a lot of different things. I just did the national anthem actually at a FIBA event, which is different altogether, basketball. But I love doing things like that and being involved. So that's sort of where I come in. And it's important to me. I love sports. I think it's very important. It's great.
Yeah, I would agree. And so it should be a pretty interesting NFL season. And so here we're talking about music, and now we're transitioning into the sports world.
Yeah. Hey, well, they
go when it comes to a Russell K show, expect the unexpected.
I love that. Hey, why not?
It's so nice to meet you, and thank you so much to spend some time with us here, and much success as you move forward, and definitely look forward to work with you in the future here. And if there's anything that we do for you, we're also gonna be there for you. And wow, what a great interview, and you're an amazing person, and so nice to meet you.
Thank you. Likewise, my friend. So nice to meet you. And I know I told you this before. I love that hat. I think it's great. You're making me want to go try some hats on now. I love hats too.
Well, I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
send this so you autograph it and send it back to me, and this way
oh, I
I'll
would do
wear
that
it.
in a second for you, Russell. Of course I would. I love that. And thank you so much for having me. You're a sweetheart too. And I can't wait to tune in, and I'm going to keep tuning into your station because I know you've got great things going on. And it was such a pleasure to be here as well. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, and we'll definitely do it again for sure. And until that time, take care and be safe. And actually, no, before we go, what part of Canada are you guys in right now?
Yeah, I live in Brampton actually, which is about 35 minutes from Toronto in Ontario, in Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, do you know that I'm actually in right now? We're actually when we're doing this interview right now, I'm in our Niagara Falls, New York studios.
No way. So you're closer to me than I thought you were today. There you go.
You
There you
see,
go.
it's karma.
It is. It is. I love that. That's great. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. See, if I knew you were there, I might have surprised you and said, "Hey, let's do a live interview in person." No, just joking.
Well, we could actually, we actually could. Yeah, our studio's big enough. We could actually do that.
Hey, well, maybe in the future, if you're there again, or if you're still there, I'd be love to do that. I'd be happy to do that for
Yeah,
sure.
I actually, going through to Toronto, we actually cross your city, so it's pretty cool. I love Canada. One of my favorite places.
Me too. I was born and raised in Nova Scotia, actually, in the east coast of Canada. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I'm from the east coast, and I love Canada. Canada's a beautiful place. It definitely is, for sure.
Yeah, I mean the people and well, in November they got the world's largest disco in up in Buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, now you're making me want to come to Buffalo because that's the world's largest disco. Are you kidding? I have to
I
be
tell
there.
you, Buffalo's got going on. I mean, it's the I mean, the town's going crazy about the Bills
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
football season, and it's a great town and great sports fans here in Buffalo, and but every the day after Thanksgiving, they have something called the world's largest disco. Has over 7,000 people there, and so we're going to sneak in this year, and we're going to do a live story.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, you're making me want to go now.
Well,
I'm
actually,
like,
you maybe be my partner in crime. We can probably sneak in together and kind of we
oh,
can like do this story. It'll be really cool.
I'd love that. Well, I have my own show, so I'm used to doing shows, and I would love to do that with you. Sure, let me know, and I will make my way across the border to see you.
I love it.
Okay? Yeah,
And speaking of shows, you can also bring that show to Music Dreams USA Real. We'll talk about that off air, but we're always giving opportunities to artists, whether it be creating their shows or whatever, and we kind of like use our radio station to help those artists as they continue on their journey. So that's another thing I love about what we do here on Music Dreams USA Radio, that they allow us the flexibility to use those resources to help the artist. That's really what it's all about.
definitely. I love that, and I sounds like a plan. I will definitely be taking you up on that one. That's for sure.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, until
yeah.
the next time, who knows? Maybe the next time you're not gonna be like a host and co-host, and we'll be interviewing some other artists.
Why not? Hey, gotta
There
love
you
that.
go.
Gotta love that. I love it. I
All
love it.
right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. And again, our show is being brought to you by Music Dreams USA Radio. Your home for football fanatics and your home for the Russell Kane and Alexa Morning Show. Check us out weekdays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Playing a great mix of music. And yes, and we actually uploaded Shauna's song into our library now. So you can actually hear that song as well. So thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, you be safe. And again, thank you so much for watching Music Dream USA Radio Worldwide Artist Spotlight. Until then, take care and be safe.